What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Alex G alongside Mal, and this is the A Couple of Things podcast where we are here to talk about a couple of things. Let's do
Yeah.
it. Don't ever do that again
Hiccups.
at the intro of this wonderful show. We have a great show lined up for you guys.
Do we?
No, we don't.
I have
Actually,
no topics.
yeah, we got no topics, and we're gonna try to get out of here so we can go turn up for St. Patty's Day. Shout out to all my Irish kinfolk. Let's do it.
You're not Irish.
I'm not, but I'm
You're Irish descent.
Irish descent. Correct.
You're Irish in your blood
Correct.
because of the mixing that was going on in this country.
Why you always? What voice is that? Because the mixing that was in the country.
Because it's true. For anybody who doesn't know, a lot of Black Americans, we have a very mixed lineage because of slavery and us being in this country and immigration and all the stuff. We got a little mix.
All right, we're not
I
getting
got
into
French.
that.
I got French. You got Irish.
Nope, we're not getting into that.
French, Irish.
Let's
But
get
you have
into-
French. You have French too.
Let's get into the real
Right?
news of the week.
That is news. Our heritage is good news.
The real news of the week is that Black people are admitting that they are afraid. Let me correct that. Black Americans are admitting that they are.
It's probably not all Black Americans. It's probably because you can't tell if everybody who made those are Black Americans.
Well, that's true.
But there could have been a lot of like immigrants, child immigrants,
Let's start over.
Black people in America.
People with darker or melanated skin have gone to the internet in the past week or so and admitted that they're afraid of people that come from what we describe as the hood, the ghetto, whatever the trap, whatever word you want to use, whatever adjective. People started going online and admitting that they're afraid of that, and it caused some level of discourse between people that feel that they're afraid and admitting that, and then other people that might be from those places being offended or upset, or some people that aren't from those places, but then they started caping for people that are in those places, saying that you're anti-Black if you feel like you're afraid of the hood or all that kind of shit. So it definitely led to a pretty large debate about that because people were getting their Blackness questioned. Some people were saying that people defending the people in the hood are like you're anti-Black if you're saying
and like we're falling for white people's tactics.
Yeah. So let's get into it.
Whatever that means.
You know what we came to do. We came to tear people down. So let's do it. So for me,
We came to see both sides.
I definitely do see both sides in this argument. So for one, where do you want to start? You want to start with
Well,
I'm afraid, or do you want to start with?
we can start with I'm afraid since that's what like the let's start with
that's
the
what
original
started
of
it.
the post.
Yeah.
So I get it. I don't think there's nothing anti-Black by being like. I feel like any race would be scared of a certain segment of people within their race.
Right.
Like if I was white, I would be scared of the kid that might seem like he's a little off. The kid that might shoot up the school. I might be scared of him. I'm scared of him even not being white. But I'm sure white people have their own category of people that they call like white trash that they're afraid of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Like
I don't think there's anything wrong with everything. Every group has a segment of people in their population that aren't good people.
I did explain this to somebody the other day because they asked me about on Love Is Blind when what's his name, the Black guy Clay. He said he was like, first of all, let's take a step back. First of all, Black people need to stop speaking in generalities for all Black people.
Yeah.
So Black people need to stop going on these public platforms and saying, this is how Black people think. This is what Black people feel. This is what Black people blah, blah, blah. Don't speak in generalities for anybody. So I don't like that he went on the show and said, well, in Black households, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Now,
especially when you have a white audience watching.
right. You're not talking to us, right? You're not talking to a Black audience. If you want to do that in a Black audience where people are going to understand where you're coming from, then that makes sense. But that message shouldn't be spread to people that aren't within our community because it's not going to make sense or translate, right?
Yeah.
Now, the other thing, what the message he was trying to convey with that is it's true in a sense. We could go back to the government purposefully splitting up the Black households, and we can start from the conversation from there. But for me, we definitely got to stop speaking in these generic terms when it comes to
people generally need to stop doing that. They do that
because
with
it's
men
weird.
versus women. Men
It's
are
weird.
this, women are this, Black people are this. Like,
Yeah.
it's
So
very annoying.
to get back to the conversation at hand, like, yes, people were speaking
Yeah.
up saying, like, because the reason why I brought that up is because Black people act like our experience is so unique, and also other cultures feel like our experience is so unique. But I think it's because maybe the
They
cultural
act like it
prominence.
is. Yeah.
But these same things exist in all other ethnic groups, which is what
Yeah.
you were just saying, right? So there's, because he was saying, oh, in the black household, you know, nuclear family isn't something that's like taught and all that other stuff. But I'm like, that's across the board in every culture.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have two-parent households and across the board in a lot of
Yeah, it's
cultures.
not just us.
You got absentees, you got divorcees, you got people cheating, you have all
Yeah,
these different things.
deadbeats.
Because they were trying to say black people cheat more and all that other stuff, and I'm like, these things happen in all cultures.
Yeah.
It's just black culture is cool, so you see it in
If
music.
anything, it probably happens the most in others. Like I promise you, especially these cultures where the dynamics of a marriage are so like old school. I like best believe there's a lot of cheating happening.
Yeah,
In white,
so
Indian, all those
So
Middle Eastern.
these kind of conversations, like, they're not specific just to black people, but I think that black people make the mistake of having these kind of conversations in a public format, whereas you
Yeah.
could just do it in a household, which is what I feel like other cultures do.
Yeah, that's
But
what
the whole,
one girl said. Like, shh. Like,
Yeah,
let's
like
have
the-
these conversations inside.
like the whole, oh, black men don't cheat, like, that shouldn't necessarily be something that's like like a topic on a public platform. Like, maybe that could be our individual kiki haha, like we have our little secret, but
Yeah,
these things shouldn't be
they
widespread.
could be in house.
Yeah, it's supposed to be in house. So
Keep it in the house.
let's keep things in house. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. So
Yeah, I get what they were saying.
I feel them.
Like, I think the wording, and that's where we get to the other side of things. Yeah, the wording might not be the best because when people associate the word of hood and ghetto, a lot of people who are from the hood took offense when it's like I think that's just nuance. That's just linguistics. Like, we're not, that's just a word disconnect here. Like, I don't think people are mean anybody who's from the hood. I think the word hood is also synonymous with people who act like degenerates.
Yeah, which is what people are specifically talking about,
Yeah.
right? For example, like, I'll just give the example. Like, I watched an attempted robbery happen the other day when I was going to get lunch,
You literally
and
witnessed that.
you can guess the skin color, obviously, right?
I'm not gonna say what race.
Unfortunately, you're not gonna say what it was.
It was black
But
people.
they were 3 black people, and they were attempting to rob somebody, and they didn't actually even get able to rob them. So, they're an embarrassment. How'd you not even get any money when you bum rushed them and didn't get any money out of it? But anyway,
Just like those guys in Philly that shot up that school bus
And they got
nobody
caught.
and nobody died.
yeah,
They're like,
point blank,
you shot 8 people and you didn't get one hit and now you're in jail for life.
and then they got you on cell phone tracker
Yeah.
right back to the crib.
Yeah, because the car was parked in front of the house.
Idiot. But
But guess what race? Guess what race it was?
in Philadelphia,
Yeah.
oh man, I don't know. That might be a totally black.
I mean,
We sound anti-black.
No,
right
but
now,
are we just supposed to ignore the facts? Like,
yeah, like,
and like we get the root. We get a lot of the reason why our people are what they are is because of the stuff that we went through in this country. I'm not gonna ignore that, but I also feel like there's ways like we can move on. We can move beyond. We could grow. Like, why are we gonna continue to let the white man win? Like, I don't understand.
yeah.
We're gonna just keep being ignorant and killing ourselves. Like Kanye just said in his interview, he said there's there is a World War III right now, like in our community, literally.
Yeah, so when people are referring to being afraid, I don't think that that's a crazy concept that, yeah, maybe you don't want to be standing at a bus stop as a kid and you get lit up with over 30 shots of bullets that are raining down from your own ethnic group. So when people are talking about hood people, it's not necessarily people that are in the hood, because we all have friends. Most of the people I grew up with, that I was friends with, were from those places. It's not like they're bad people.
Some of our parents, my dad is from the hood.
Yeah, my
East
dad
New
is
York.
from
Anyway, go Google East New York, Brooklyn right now.
one of the worst
I
cities.
just was there 2 days ago.
One of the worst cities in New Jersey.
Yeah, Patterson. Like, come on.
So it's not like hood people are bad, and my dad's my hero. But
And look at the thing too. Look at people like your dad and my dad. Where did they move to? Did they know themselves how bad it is? Where did they move their kids to? The suburbs, to escape that for a reason.
yeah,
Like, it's a reason.
not everybody that's in the hood are bad people. Obviously, we know that. There's a lot of social workers that have done a lot of great things. There's a lot of teachers that go and teach in these school systems that
There's a lot of smart people too.
there's a lot of smart people
Like,
that
we
come
know
from the
people who literally work at like big finance firms,
making
like,
more
come
money
from
than
the
all
hood.
of us
Yeah,
put together.
but no debt,
with no
student
debt,
loans,
no
yeah.
student loans, because they were able to get the
leverage,
the financial aid. Like, so
Yeah,
it's not everybody that's in the hood. What people are specifically talking about is the people that are gonna be wearing ski masks in the summertime for
And
no reason, toting
guns,
guns for no
speeding.
reason, fighting over blocks that they don't own,
Yeah.
being upset over colors, all that kind of stupid shit that's in our community. That's what we're specifically talking about.
And that's like a byproduct of the hood. We're not saying that hood people are bad. We're talking about there's a byproduct of the hood that produces bad
Yeah,
people. The survivor mode produces bad people.
the robberies and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. People from the hood don't even go to rich communities to rob. They rob from even people within
Yeah,
their own
their own
communities.
people.
So like, if that's the environment that people are speaking about, like those are the type of people. Like I have family in hoods all over the place. My family down south, we wouldn't consider that to be the hood necessarily because I don't think there's really hoods.
It's like country hood.
It's country hood, and there's also of course just regular hoods in certain spots. But the country hood, like trailers, all that kind of stuff. Like my family comes from a lot of these places. My dad's just an anomaly, really. So I love them all to death. So, but when it comes to a comfort level, you're gonna be looking over your shoulder every chance you get.
I love going to my grandma's house, but I'm not gonna lie. When I get there, it's take all your stuff out the bag. Like I might not bring certain stuff with me, and I might not wear certain things. And yeah, of course, crime can happen anywhere, but like we had to stop lying to ourselves. Like I hate when people like to lie. Like yeah, stuff happens anywhere. We could get robbed in the suburbs. My parents got robbed in freaking Italy. Dream vacation for some people, but you're more likely like the stats don't lie. Like you're more likely to have an interaction like that around certain people, and that's just what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is. So that's that perspective. Like
yeah, like I get what they're
it's
saying.
dangerous, right? Like
and I hate that people are acting out too. It's like we know what they're saying.
Yeah, the people that have been getting murdered on the subway, messing up my commute. And what
Literally
areas
just
are they?
Happened yesterday or 2 days ago when I was in Brooklyn. Same day I was in Brooklyn.
What areas are they in? And also, what were their skin tones?
Yeah. Who pulled out the gun on that video that just happened in that incident that just happened?
I mean, she stabbed him though.
She did stab him.
She escalated it, but
she
still,
did escalate it, which is crazy. But
yeah,
let the two men scrap. You didn't need to get involved in that. But
yeah, that type of shit. Like we can't ignore these specific facts, and that's why people are saying that they're afraid. And the people in the hood are afraid of that shit too. They just don't have a way to get out of it. So I don't know why people want to be obtuse and act like that's not scary.
Like people from the hood all the time, I hate living here. Like every day I'm like on
the
fear.
gunshots.
I can't wait to move. This is my motivation for doing good in school. Like come on, like why are we acting stupid?
Yeah.
Why
now all of a sudden you take offense to it. I get it. It's where you're from and you don't want to feel like it's slighted because you're from a certain spot. But let's be honest, like that is the whole detriment of our community, and not that other people's perceptions matter, but they do matter.
Yeah, and we all know that's a crab in the barrel mentality. Your people could do better. Like yes, there's disadvantages because of what happened to us in this country, but come on, if everybody like we can't just keep using that excuse forever. Like when are we gonna turn it around? So why do we have so many examples of people that have been able to do it successfully when they actually wanted to do it? Like, especially now in 2024 where there's so much resources, like you go on social media and be inspired every day, hear people's stories every day. There's no excuses anymore, in my opinion.
Yeah, and from their perspective, people in the hood, of course, to delve into it more specifically, like their perspective is people are taking so much from the culture that is created within these neighborhoods and the ghettos and all that kind of stuff. Like when it comes to clothing, music,
fashion,
the language.
Yeah, a lot of AAV have come from the inner cities.
Like just the lifestyle overall, which is 100% a fact. Like a majority of what's popular and is in the world really comes from those kind of things. If you go to Japan and you see the way that they get tattooed up and they're driving lowriders and candy paint and
acting like they repping a set
and they're wearing jerseys and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, like all that kind of stuff literally comes from the ghettos of America.
Rose, right? Who's from the suburbs, who has doctor and lawyer parents, throwing up gang signs and acting like she's from the hood.
All that kind of stuff is a fact. So their perspective is you're afraid, but you're still able to take the parts that you do like about it, but not the parts that you don't like about it.
Yeah.
And so they are right about that. It's 100% a valid point. The only thing I don't know is.
But sorry to interrupt. The only reason why I feel like it's not necessarily a valid point though is because it's not like we said, it's not like we have any issue with the hood. We just have an issue with the byproduct that the hood creates, with people who actually try to live by those things. Like, and I still get it though, because like we're still it's still like gang culture that's still dangerous. The people that we are generally scared of we are like, some people are emulating that, so it's true.
But at the same time, it's not that the rest of the world is emulating the shooters and killers within the hood.
Yeah.
So it's not like the shooters and killers are responsible for the culture necessarily of the hood. It's just that
Yeah.
they're a part of an overall bigger picture.
Yeah,
So
'cause gangs weren't created to be dangerous at first, right?
and black people didn't create gangs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Italians did, right?
Yeah, you could give them credit for that, I guess, a little bit.
Who else?
Organized crime. You said
Yeah.
who else?
Yeah, who else would have credit for it? The Christian gangs.
So who are typically credited would be the Italians, the Irish. There were gangs that were in America, like gangs of New York, obviously.
Yeah, but
that-
weren't those Italians?
Those were, though at that point they were considered. There were some Italians in it. There were a lot of Irish in it.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah.
they were considered. They were American gangs. So
like white Americans.
Yeah, white American gangs. But
So yeah, like we didn't necessarily create them, but yeah, like even when they were created in our neighborhoods, they wasn't created with the intent of violence.
Yeah.
So like we can't credit the violence that made stuff popular. Like hood rat or hood culture doesn't always necessarily mean it's violent. So
Yeah.
we just don't support the violent people.
Yeah, we don't. That's
That's
basically
it.
all. That's basically the conversation. So people shouldn't be getting offended because they were saying you're anti-black if you're afraid of being in the hood.
Because they're translating it as like like when white people hear a black person driving with music, they're scared.
Yeah,
no, I'm
nah.
not scared of somebody playing music, and I don't think that's what these people are saying.
Nah,
But if they're playing music and then they're out the window waving a gun and they're doing donuts in the parking lot and they're wearing ski masks like to cover their identity and they're like looking around and obviously got something tucked, then yeah, I'm scared.
yeah. For example, and
they're drinking and driving, then yeah, I'm scared. Like,
Yeah,
they
it's
could
the-
kill me. Literally.
it's that kind of behavior. For example, like I was saying when I was watching that robbery happen.
Yeah.
What did the guy do? He reached inside his bubble vest,
Yeah.
acting like he was going to pull out a gun because somebody
Yeah.
was trying to stop and help the guy out.
Yeah.
So
So
it's
now
that
you're
kind of
scared.
stuff.
Like you
So-
wasn't scared because you saw a black man wearing a bubble coat. But when he puts his hand in, then yeah, I'm worried. I'm
Yeah,
scared.
when he rushes the guy to go rob him and then starts acting like he's reaching for something, then
Yeah.
that's different. So nobody's afraid of the
And you're
hood.
more likely to see that in the hood than you are in the
Like
suburbs.
I would go to the
Like,
hood all the time. Like
Yeah.
the better food is gonna be there.
Yeah.
It's more like it's just more. I feel like in line with our experience in a way because the music and that kind of stuff. Like if you're in the suburbs, you're gonna hear less of those kind of things.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna go if I think at any point somebody's gonna rob you.
Yeah. Like if you're getting bad vibes,
Like when the police tell you not to go to a certain city after a certain time, like that's a problem. When the
Yeah.
police are telling you to do that, then that's a problem. And
Yeah.
that they're talking about our people when they're saying that. Like if it's a red light, just keep going because if you stop, somebody's gonna probably rob you at gunpoint. And
yeah.
so
It's just like the reality. It's almost like how like, where I make the argument where I say like how women always seem to defend other women when it comes to like relationship problems with men. Like we have no context to what happened, why the relationship ended, but the women are automatically side with women. But then those same women have so many stories probably of beefs that they had with their own with other women. Like so much issues. Like women fight each other all the time. But then when it comes to a relationship ending, it's always the man's fault. I feel like that's like the same thing with this. It's like you were burned probably by your own kind so many times, robbed, scammed, killed. But then now you're gonna act stupid and defend them when you know that's the people that hurt you the most.
Yeah.
Like that, it's just like insane.
I think
It's like people just want to be offended by everything.
Yeah, I think the best way around this argument is the people that are afraid of going to the hood or the ghetto, they have a valid point in the sense that, yeah, there's a ton of danger. Actually, let me not say a ton because I don't want to say it that way. Let me reword this. The people that are
Higher
afraid,
percent.
yeah, the people that are afraid to go to the hood as black people,
Mhm.
they know, and I think it's a valid point that there is a higher chance that there's going to be some sort of violence or robberies or all of the different things that people would be afraid of going into an area. All of those things, the percentage of that happening goes up when you go into
Yeah.
the hood. Like
A lot higher than the suburbs.
A lot
It's just
higher.
a reality.
and there's too many stories of that happening. Like you see all the stories that happen in LA. You just show up in LA and somebody thinks you might have money and you're going to get robbed. Like these are not
And I'm sure every person has a story in regards to the hood or something.
Yeah.
Happens to them. I have zero stories in the suburbs. I might have to deal with some white people and their racism. That's a whole nother conversation. But I have zero stories of robberies and violence in my suburban community.
yeah.
But
So
in New York and Brooklyn, I've seen some things. Didn't experience nothing personally, thank God, but a lot of people in my family have. A freaking uncle got his car robbed and had to shoot at his own car to get it back, like back in the 90s. Too many stories.
Yeah. So they're valid with being afraid of going to the hood because it is just more dangerous. Like, there's not as much danger in the suburbs. And the people that are in the hood, they have a valid point in that there is some level of the culture that does get taken and spread around the world, and you can't really come from the perspective of, oh, we want to enjoy your music, your fashion taste, the language, all that kind of stuff, and then all of the negatives that come with it. Then we don't want that, because that's similar to appropriating from any other culture. So like even within our own cultures, there could be some level of appropriation. So I think both sides are right, but to say that somebody's anti-black because they're afraid of getting killed when you see everything that happens on the news every single day of something crazy happening, like
we just got a notification earlier that 3 people were shot in Philly and the guy is hiding out in Trenton, New Jersey.
So or all the people that have gotten killed or pushed onto the train tracks, because I'm in New York more than I'm in New Jersey, but we see these things all the time. So people are valid in the sense that they should be afraid, because I think people from the hood are afraid of being in the hood too.
Yeah, that's why they leave.
That's why they try to leave. And also people in the hood, there's a valid stance that, a lot of the culture does get ripped and spread around the world, although people around the world are not taking from the murderers.
Not all, but some people are, though, because some people are emulating the whole smoking on that thing pack.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, some people are, true.
Killing my ops. Well, the word ops and all that kind of stuff. That's true.
So people are definitely leaning into that whole killer thing still. So that's why I do understand that perspective.
I think both sides are true, but I don't think that you can say that somebody's anti-black because they're afraid of.
Yeah, like black people, like calling other black people anti-black.
Yeah, no, like you're anti-black if you're promoting that type of stuff.
And the only issue, like I said earlier, is if you're the type of person, even black, that's scared of somebody just driving around with the music, somebody just wearing like what they consider urban clothes. If you're scared like that, then that is kind of anti-black. But being scared of somebody who visibly looks like they're here to cause trouble, like you could just tell. Like humans are not stupid. That's why we have intuition, we have body language analysis for a reason. You could tell when somebody's up to no good, when they're looking around, their hands reach somewhere. You could just tell. Like you ever like hear stories where people knew like a shooting was about to happen. Like there's something just happened yesterday in Kansas City, and the guy was like. I think I don't know if nobody died, but he was like, I saw the guy like looking around being weird. I knew something was about to go down. Like people, you just have that intuition. That's not being anti-black.
We were in a club one time where that happened, where I don't necessarily believe in the concept of the devil, but I feel like when we were in the club and it was the Crips that were in there, right?
I think. Oh yeah.
I looked into right before
that was in college.
Right before that popped off.
Oh my god.
I looked into one of the guys. We just made eye contact for just some reason. Like I just was looking around and we just made eye contact, and I feel like I saw the devil in that moment. And then shortly after,
didn't we like dip?
Yeah, we ran out. We ran out.
Yeah, we were acting
weren't sure
if there was. We were acting.
Yeah, no, because I wasn't sure if there was a weapon that was being drawn. All I saw was a commotion, people getting tossed.
We ran.
Yeah, we was out of there.
Oh my god, that was like freshman year, right, or sophomore year.
But yeah, we had that intuition.
Was that Bliss?
Yeah,
Bliss is closed now.
I was looking around and I was like,
that's
nah.
So
I was like, his look was crazy. Like the way he was just sitting there. And then it wasn't him that actually did it. It was his man's, but still.
You just knew they was up to no good,
I could just tell
right?
like there was something about to happen.
That was kind of like when that shooting that happened at the Halloween party in 2017 in New Brunswick. That was like that was crazy. Like we were by the door, but like my friend at the time, she had an intuition, and we all were like, all right, let's go to the door. Then we heard boop boop boop, and we ran. Ooh, man, crazy times. But it's just like you just know, like there's a difference between just being scared of anybody. Like if me and you were walking around and playing music, and people were acting like they were scared of us, that's anti-black, because clearly they don't know us. We're not posing a threat. We're just listening to music. But if you're scared of somebody who's visibly, obviously a threat, that's not being anti-black.
Yeah, that's just
and that's what I think all these people are talking about in these I'm not afraid to admit trend. I think that's what they're talking about here. Like people took it to heart. Like this one girl was crying, like I'm from the hood, and I just feel like people have always judged me. I'm like, ugh, here we go. Womp, womp, womp. Because nobody's talking about you. We're not scared of you. Nobody's talking about you. Like, I can't. Yeah. So my stance, I'm scared of some of these rats. I am. I'm scared of some of these white people too, who look threatening. I'm scared of an Indian person who might look threatening. Yeah. I'm scared of a Hispanic person that might look threatening. I'm scared of a Middle Eastern person that might look like a threat. Like I'm scared of anybody who looks like a threat. There's no race to that.
Yeah, anywhere I'm not gonna feel comfortable is gonna be a threat. It's just not specific to our community. I would feel the same level of discomfort walking through the Bronx right now that I would
Yeah.
feel walking through any sundown town
Yeah.
in the South.
Or if we walking through an area, like if we were on vacation and we knew it was an area that's kind of risky, like in Mexico, like if you're going to near the freaking, what are they called down there? Like the like not the not the mafia, the people in Mexico who
the
like,
cartel.
The cartel. If I'm in an area and I seem like the cartel's doing something, I'm scared of them too. Like it's not a race thing. I think with this trend in specific, they were bringing up race because they were just saying black to black people, like I'm scared of some of my own, which is not crazy. I think anybody's scared of some of their own.
Yeah,
we feel each other more than any other race does.
Yeah,
so.
I'm weary of anything, any place I go, anywhere we travel to. There's always going to be something somewhere. So it doesn't matter the race to me. I'm not more afraid of black people than I am of anybody else.
Yeah.
Actually, in the big scheme of things, I'm actually least afraid of black people compared to all other cultures because we live.
At least you feel like
it's something I'm aware of. I have the most knowledge about it, but also we live in America. So when you go to some of these other cultures, their version of that is a lot different because they don't have the affluence that's in America, because the worst hoods in America are paradises compared to some of the other places in the world. So for them, I'm way more scared of going to these cultures and some of these other places because they for them it's survival. Over here it's survival, but it's not in the same way because they don't have government assistance. They don't have these kind of things. They couldn't even go into a trash can to get food because there ain't even a trash can to get food out of. As we're here,
no food shelters.
You could have homeless people that are eating good. Yeah. So you just be seeing homeless people with good sneakers on.
Yeah.
And these other places, it's not so much. So for me, I think both points are valid.
Yeah, and I just think on the anti-black thing is funny too, because then if you look at the continent with the most black people in this world, they do tribal wars all the time. Like they kill each other. Skin folk, there's no kin folks last time. It's because they killing each other in mass over there. Like a lot of those genocides are started from other people with the same skin tone. They just have different tribal backgrounds, different tribes. So this whole anti-black thing is kind of funny to me, like especially when that's what's happening in the motherland, So I just don't understand people, but people need to stop being so offended. That's all. Like there has to be a middle ground and seeing all sides. And stop being so obtuse and stupid. And stop looking to be offended, But yeah. Yep. I'm scared of the hood rats. See, I always got to end like a good statement with being ignorant, but I'm serious. I am. I'm scared of them. Be holding my bag, I'd be like this. Only when they look like a threat, though.
Well, now that we talked a lot about a lot of black news and white news, so there was this. I don't know if you saw it, but to be honest, this is one of those things where I wanted to be ignorant to it and not look into it, so I didn't feel like I was losing brain cells. But are you familiar with Matt Rife?
Sounds familiar.
So he's a comedian that he's been doing this for a while. He was on Wild 'N Out for a while, but he blew up recently he just hit a TikTok algorithm that like took him out of here. And just as quickly as you go up, people immediately wanted to tear him down. The typical thing.
Yeah.
People got offended because to give more context, people were like women were throwing themselves at him like he's a new heartthrob, all that kind of stuff. So, he was able to transcend a lot faster because of that reason, because that was a lot of the comments, and he got the women audience. Now, what happened was he made a comment, a joke about, and I don't want to put this on him, because I forget the joke, but it was something about like domestic violence or something akin to being negative against women. Now, he's a comedian. This is what comedians do. Women comedians do the same thing to men. This is comedy, right? But I think what the problem is that women were following him because of his looks, and that was the reason why they wanted to support his comedy, was mostly just based on how he looks, not necessarily that I think they liked his comedy.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is that the second that he's doing his profession, the whole reason why you're even aware of him in the first place, then people get offended because he made a joke, and then they're upset, right? So it's like that kind of thing. So basically everybody wanted to tear him down. Now all of a sudden, he's not funny, blah, 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 blah. When the whole time before that, he was doing crowd work and everybody was like laughing and it's haha in the comments.
But it is mad
Because that's what blew him up. And then now it's just, he's not even that funny anyway, and so forth. And I'm not defending him, but it is something that I did notice happen, because you just see the switch happened right after he made that joke that, everybody started finding a reason to just hate on every little thing.
Yeah.
So what happened recently is supposedly he was messing with 5 or 6 women, and I didn't do my journalistic research because I don't feel like it. 5 or 6 women at the same time. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why women do this, and this is why I wanted to bring it up. Whenever women get caught in a situation where one guy is messing with like 5, 3, 4, 6, whatever number of women at the same time, why is it that women come together and try to do a kumbaya moment and then try to use that as a way to get back at the man?
I never understood it. I mean, I get it in a way, but
no. So tell me what you get about that?
What I get is like, damn, like he was playing all of us, and we all were invested in this guy, and all were falling for him, and like he really tried to play us and tried to like think we're all stupid, that he could get away with messing with us all at once. So it's like, we're gonna expose him together, like, nigga, you're stupid. Like, look, we figured it out. You're not smarter than us. So I get it from that perspective.
And then what?
Just cut him off. Now he got to start from scratch. Get your roster up again. Try again. You lost 5 at once. So now, like, imagine you had a solid roster that you could depend on at any time. Now you lost all 5 at once because they figured it out.
Okay.
That's the only way I get it. I've never been in a situation like that. But
from a man's perspective,
you know what I would say though, if I ever was in a situation like that, I wouldn't be kumbaya. I would just cut ties, and like I'm like, you could relay a message to him. I'm done with all you guys.
And here's my thing, right? Because I get what women are trying to do. They're trying to be solidarity. He was such a bad person, and let's all come together.
Yeah, and not even like the solidarity, but just like he's not gonna get away with this, so let's shit on him together at least. And then I'm not gonna be your friend after that.
So you sound like you're kind of with them on that one. So for me, it's a little weird. So basically, what the situation happened was, I'm not familiar with what it was. I don't know if it was a performance, a panel, or whatever. But like all of the people that he was all of the women that he was messing with at the same time, they were in some like auditorium with a bunch of people in a crowd, and then they were all together, shitting on him.
Yeah.
To me, it's a little weird because it's like, it's not the flex or the power move that people think it is, because it's almost like collectively saying like, he played all of us and he had sex with all of us and we want the world to know and we hate him. There's nothing to gain from that, especially from the man's perspective. He's probably looking at this video like, wow, man.
Well, yeah, that is too much. Like, it's one thing to come together privately and then all decide what we're going to do together. It doesn't even have to be.
But even that seems crazy to me. Why is there anything we need to do collectively together?
No, like, I mean, like, not like together, but it could be like, oh, like, all right, like, I'm about to cut him off. Like, you guys should too, the type of thing. If they don't want to, they want to still continue messing with him, fine. But
that's so interesting to me.
I don't know. It's like I see both sides. Like, I get it in a way of like I'm not about to be sitting there like it is kind of cringe and corny, the whole like. I saw one video like that, which could have been a skit, where it's like the one girl was pretending to meet up with the guy, and then the rest of the girls came around the corner. That's corny and cringe to me. I'm not that invested. If a man doesn't care about me enough to mess with all these women, I'm not going to care enough to do this whole fucking display of like, look, I'm shitting on you. Like, no.
I feel like women are going to come to this topic on this video. So if you're here, hey. Now, I'm not defending him in his actions, and I'm also not aware of what exactly happened because I wasn't there, right? So I'm not going to pass judgment on something that he might have done. Like, I wasn't there. I really don't know if he treated them improperly or whatever he might have done.
Yeah.
So I can't judge from that perspective. But from a man's perspective, it's really goofy. Aside from his potential goofy actions, it's really goofy to have all of the people that you were messing with at one time show up in one place to collectively shit on you, because number one, the way that looks is that you are super pressed.
Yeah.
Number two, you're doing, uterus power aligning with each other. But at the end of the day, he still, got what he wanted. So there's no real power. You can't. I mean,
the only real power is just the removing yourself from his life.
Right, which is the more important thing, which is what I'll get to.
Which they could just do silently without even saying much. Or, even if you want to get yours off your chest, say it. But it doesn't have to be this whole unity thing.
Yeah, there doesn't need to be unity.
Say what you have to say and block.
All a guy's going to do, and while it might be vain and superficial and all those misogynistic and chauvinist, whatever other words and adjectives people want to use to describe it. The way a man's gonna look at it is, wow, look at my roster. I
Yeah,
did this,
like
this, this, and
damn.
they're all on the stage together. Like she was this, and this was good, and this was blah blah. And like that's how a man's gonna look at it. So in terms of a power play, because you allowed yourself to be put in that position in the first place, it's always just gonna be a joke
But
to
did you
that
allow
man
yourself to
forever.
put yourself in that position?
I feel like you kind of did in a
I
way.
mean, if you're,
If you're not in a relationship with the person, then you do set yourself up to be in a place where
yeah,
they're messing with everybody. It's not like he cheated on,
and you're allowed to do that when you're dating. I mean, the only way that it's wrong is if there's no clear communication that that's what you're doing.
which I highly doubt.
Because there should be, hey, you're just one person I'm dating. I am dating other people. And, you know, like The Bachelor. It's not how the Bachelor show works. Where I'm
That's what
dating multiple
technically
people.
dating.
Yeah, when you're an adult, that's what the term dating is. I feel like when we say we're dating, like we view it as like we're in a relationship. But I feel like as an adult, yeah, like the word dating, it's like I'm dating you.
Well, I think dating is should probably be used as an umbrella term, and then below that there's
yeah, in
committed
a
relationship,
yeah.
and then there's
Talking stage,
dating around.
We're getting serious.
Yeah,
Or
so
you're just a prospect.
yeah, so that's how I feel about it, and I
Yeah.
definitely
That's where
was.
communication plays a huge role in these. Like humans will have so much better of experience if they just talk and just communicate.
And women would have a better experience if they stopped messing with entertainers.
Yeah, because
Like,
there's nothing that's gonna really good come out of it. Honestly,
yeah,
it's most likely not gonna come like anything good's gonna come out of that.
yeah.
With athletes, with entertainers.
And I hate to generalize, but realistically, like a person that's not in a committed relationship that's in those spaces, that's probably why they're not in a committed relationship, because they want to be having six on
Outside.
stage talking about how he beat it down. And I know women hate that. It's like, oh, objectifying and all that other stuff. But from the man's perspective, that's what it is. So if the point is
Some
to
women
try to
think they could change him.
if the point is to try to get back at the man, is kind of what I'm trying to explain to women that want to do the uterus power together.
Yeah, I see. Now that I'm talking about it more. Yeah, like I said, I get it, but I would never be a participant in that. Like never, because that's just so cringe to me. Like no.
He played all of us, and then they take pictures on stage.
And then they still are friends afterwards. Like no.
Yeah, we
or like
joined.
the two girls that were friends. Like they both dated a guy, and then they both have a mutual hate for him because they're exes
So then
now.
they became friends.
That always has been so weird to me. I'm not about to be friends with somebody who literally shared the same penis with me. Sorry, we're not friends. Like
Yeah, because it's weird. Because it's like at the end of the day, like that's the most. Like what's the word? It's almost borderline obsessive. Like
yeah, like
you wanted to become
censoring
friend.
him.
Yeah, like you're for the rest of your life. You're not like one upping him because you're now friends with the person. Like he got both of you. Like that's just what it is.
It's over.
And I'm sure he doesn't care. Like if he cared, he probably would have tried to select you and hold you down. But he didn't care enough to pick you as being the one and only.
wife,
So if all of you are collectively together doing this unity, locking arms together, we stand against him. Like you just look like a clown, not to women probably, because they might have been in a situation like that too. It's not saying anything. It's not saying what you think it is, because he's still going to continue the same behavior, do the same things. He's going to get another new set that's not going to go on stage, and people take attractiveness and think that that's where things start and end. There's too many attractive people in the world.
Yeah.
Like, so while
that's not everything,
this particular 5 or 6 might be cool, there's 5 or 6 that are even better that you'll never see, and like look way better than these group of people on stage that had their shot at him. So it's always been a little bit weird to me.
It's ego.
Yeah, your ego's hurt, and you want to tell everybody about how this person hurt you.
Ego will have you feeling like you're the only baddie and the only good person in the earth for somebody. Like no, like I promise you, there's people that look better. There's people that have better personalities. Like you're not the end all be all.
One thing I was thinking about yesterday, I do a lot of really weird thinking. A lot of weird stuff pops into my mind when I'm doing like a menial task. Like if I'm running, I hate running. Well, actually, I love running, but like running could get like your mind wanders because it's so repetitive that you stop thinking about the running and you're just like kind of on autopilot.
Yeah.
I was thinking about how it kind of really does suck for women because of that emotional component when it comes to sex and relationships. Well, not relationships, but really just mostly when it comes to the sex part, because it must hurt so much more, like if you give it up and then somebody just ghosts you or like in this situation. Like I get the hurt aspect of it, but I don't know. Like
Yeah, because my
the,
whole thing is I'm a woman, I get it too. But as a woman, I also commit. Don't put yourself in a situation where your feelings get tied like that. Like hindsight being 2020, but like a lot of my situations in my life, I wouldn't personally even have sex with somebody who I'm not in a relationship with. At least somebody who made that level of commitment to me. I don't know. It's hard because a part of me feels like you should kind of like even people talk about test drive, but I feel that's more like before you get married. But like I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm a little congested, but yeah, like I feel like you kind of set yourself up. Like if you're like a girl that's messing with a guy, right, and he's like he might be honest with you too about like his situation, like maybe what's going on with him. Maybe he's not ready for a relationship, and then you still decide to have sex with him. It's kind of on you. Like I do as a woman, I do sympathize and feel bad because it's like, you know, dang, like you gave up something so personal to another man, and like he still doesn't really want you, but it's like you kind of put yourself in those situations sometimes. Lots of times that's avoidable. Like there's some situations, but yeah, you might have got really manipulated and like a guy really did you wrong. But lots of times, either the guy is honest or the signs are there. Like, or he never asked you to be his girlfriend. So it's like you kind of you set yourself up for failure. So it's kind of like,
yeah,
you know,
it's just weird.
you feel
So
bad to a certain extent.
that's my thing, because like think of it from a man's perspective. If there was a woman that played a bunch of guys and she had sex with a bunch of guys, do we think that men would go on stage and be locking arms and like taking pictures together? Like how nuts would that look?
I know
That would look insane, right?
that would look stupid.
So in the same context from a man's perspective, I look at it in the reverse. Like it's still the same thing. Like it's not a power play.
Yeah.
I get it. He played you all. You're upset. You want everybody to know that he won't do this again, but he will.
Yeah.
Not everybody's gonna care like you. Also, some women might only really just have wanted that from him anyway. So
Yeah.
he'll be perfectly fine. But I wish women would stop doing that, because like I also saw the same equivalent, but the guy got 5 women pregnant at the same time, and they had a shared baby shower together. So that would be
That's
another example.
Sick.
That would be another example of like, it's not like the unity isn't the power play that people think it is, and you're not saying anything by it. If anything, you're just making it more swaggy for the guy. Like
he actually saw that too with that situation when all the girls came out.
Mm-hmm.
Someone was like, "Damn, all of them are like a good good solid 7 8s." They were like, the nigga was putting up numbers,
Yeah.
If anything, he was getting like praised.
But that's exactly the thing. Like he might have screenshotted that picture of them all all together.
Sent it. What's Future song? My Collection.
Yeah, and then sent it to the group chat. Like, bro, I can't believe this. I can't believe I was able to pull this off.
Roster.
Yeah, pasta and lobster.
Yep.
Yeah, so women stop doing that, and I'm sure all of the feminazis. Oh shit, I can't say that.
You can say it.
I can't say that.
That's right.
We're gonna cut that out. All of the feminists out there that have clicked on this video, I'm sure I lost all of them already. Within the first
I just need women to understand that lots of times, like, because their end goal is like they're doing it as like a woman empowerment thing, but the whole point of the empowerment is they feel like it's gonna one up a man or hurt a man, and it's not.
And they want the clout.
Yeah.
And then I saw all the women.
Yeah, and this situation is a clout thing. Like,
and all the women in the comments too, like, yeah, like, blah blah blah, like all the support. What women need to do, especially because this whole action of doing this in the first place was around a man. Women should really pay attention to men instead of paying attention to women's reactions to men.
Exactly. Like, pay attention to what men like, dislike, are offended by, hurt by. Like, I feel like the only way to really hurt, in my opinion, to hurt a man is if like that man really liked you, really wanted you, like, really, really wanted you. And there's like some type of, or if you hit him where it hurts, like, like his, was it kryptonite? Like, like where it's going to hurt. That's the only way you can really hurt a man. Like, hit him somewhere that's like, he has some type of trauma, some type of trigger, some type of soft point.
Right.
Or if you really are like the girl of the stream, he really wants you and then you hurt him.
And be very, very careful with the trauma
out.
stuff, because men and women react way differently to that.
Women might crash out.
Women will definitely cry, and a man will 100% be more likely to crash out and start. Yeah.
Yeah.
It could get wild from a man's perspective, because I've seen people's points get hit, and then it gets crazy.
That's why, like, I gave advice to even my mom, but she's older than me. But I told her, I'm like, don't say, like, when she was arguing with this guy, like, don't say certain stuff like that, because, like, you got to tread lightly. Like, you can't, don't talk about somebody's, like, issues, that really could hurt them to the core, because that could really be dangerous for you. Like,
especially if it's not warranted, like if it's not necessary.
Like, you didn't need to go that far.
If it gets to that point, then that's one thing. But don't take that advice.
First,
don't take that advice.
And I should not be giving advice to my mom. If you're listening to this, I should not be giving advice to somebody 25, 26, 27 years older than me. Like,
do not hit a man where it hurts. You shouldn't hit anybody where it hurts.
Situation what she's trying to do. And like, that's crazy. You can't say that. Like, come on. That's not even in his control.
Don't hit anybody where it hurts. But what I will say is that men, when they have that ego hurt and that ego bruising, it's brutal.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the same type of reaction. Like, it's a sadness, but really it's actually a rage. It's not even an anger. Rage is a step above anger. I have seen it happen. Like,
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, for the feminists that want to hurt men, there's only certain ways to do it. Like, if a man is real insecure about his height, right? Like, and then you come at him for that, then yeah, like that might really hurt him. Like, if you're like, damn, like I didn't want you anyway. Like, you were just sometimes messing with you, too short anyway. Or if it's like something like, out of his control, if it's something with his childhood, maybe like his daddy issues, like he's really hurt about not having a father in his life, and you know, certain stuff you could really hurt them, but not everything.
Yeah. So, yep, that's if you want to hurt him in that way. But yeah, doing the, hey, he had sex with all of us guys, let's take a pic together. Yeah, that's not swaggy.
If you're like the girl of his dreams, and you go out and like,
and clearly you're not, because you're one of many that were.
Because as a man, there is like maybe a set amount of a woman, or even just one that you really like, you feel like that's like the love of your life, and like you would like.
I feel like that's you for me.
Oh.
Yeah.
You better not be lying.
See,
I'm kidding. No, I'm saying like.
And that's why I can't do anything.
No, like you ever hear like, could they always say like, they always tell women like, oh, like some women are scared with dating. Cause they said like there's always this notion that men have this one person that they really can't like ever let go, or that's like the love of their life. So like they might lose that person and still go out and date, but they'll never fully 100% be satisfied or as happy as they would have been with that person, which is such a sad fact.
I'm not saying that that's factual for me, but that's a fact.
Yeah.
Because.
And lots of times it is the people that you fell in love with in your earlier days in life. That's when love is new and fresh.
Right. And women or just, women need to understand that there are a lot of differences between men and women. This grill is making me stutter. There are a lot of differences between men and women, but women should realize that there are a lot of similarities. And one of the similarities is when it comes to a woman's like first time being physically intimate with a man, that first boyfriend, all those first emotions, that translates to men as well. Like, a guy is going to cling on to that first woman that gave them certain experiences and how fun and innocent it might have been, or the good times. Like, men are going to cling on to the same things that a woman would, and not in all cases, just like, and for women, not in all cases. Yeah. Some women don't value, those kind of things, but there are men that will never let certain women go because that might have been their first experience with something, or she was just great, or right person, wrong time, or maybe they fumbled, or any of those things. Men 100% cling on to like the first love. Yeah.
And I feel like if you don't have that like hold over a man, then nothing you do is really gonna hurt him. Sorry. Woman, sorry to break it to you. Nothing you are is gonna hurt. Like, nothing you really do is gonna hurt him that much unless you have some type of a hold on him. Like, unless you was such like this dope person that really was like meant something to him. If it was just sex and like and good vibes, he probably doesn't miss you. I promise you, he doesn't care.
And also on both sides, what people should realize is even if you're dope, even if you're cool, even if you're like the flyest person, or you're really just legitimately a real cool person, like everybody would want to be around you. Yeah. That doesn't matter to everybody.
Yeah, it doesn't.
That might matter to most people, but he might have a clone of you somewhere else that's on the same thing, or he just doesn't value the same things that make you cool to everybody else. Yeah. So it's also not just about you. It's about how the other person feels too. But so women, stop doing that weirdo kumbaya.
And you made a good point too. Like, don't look to other women to feel like, what can we do to hurt him? Like, no, if you really want to know how to hurt a man, you had to study men. You had to be around men. You need men friendships. You need long-term male relationships. Like, you can't look to other women to say, what can we do to hurt him? What can we do to plot him? No, if you really want to hurt him and be that vindictive, then study the man.
Yeah, you got to study the guy.
Figure it out.
And I guarantee. Sorry to cut you off.
No, I was done.
I guarantee there's nothing. I guarantee that they weren't around him long enough to figure those things out, because all of the default insults that women tend to use, I don't think in his situation you can kind of use those, Because you've had now
Yeah, because what's the default?
hundreds of thousands of women say that he's attractive. So you can't say he's not attractive.
You can't say some people. That's a male's kryptonite sometimes too. The sex performance.
They
Or
can
the
say
size.
that. They can say that, but what
But
women?
clearly you were there.
Women always default to that.
Yeah. Oh, it's small. It's trash.
You said I was there for that.
No, I'm saying like all those women that were there like with him. Like,
Oh,
they were
oh,
there.
because they collectively.
They experienced it, so it couldn't have been that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're upset clearly, so it
Yeah.
couldn't have been that bad. They wouldn't be chasing after him if it was that bad.
And I wonder how much of that is that a huge ego boost to guys? It is, right? The sex performance.
Yeah, that's like probably the ego
probably,
boost.
yeah. Especially if it's something you can't control. Like if your thing is small, like you can't control that. So that's sad.
And I obviously we definitely can't judge that part of him, but
Yeah.
you've had hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of women say this person's attractive. He has millions of dollars, all the fame in the world.
Yeah.
So all of those different things that tend to work on normal humans, like, oh, you're broke, you're this, you're that. In his situation, obviously, you can't really say those type of things. So this is probably one of the only ways. It's going to be harder. The more elite of a person that you mess with, it's going to be harder to shit on them.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's crazy. I actually have no idea about the situation. I'm going to look into it.
Yeah, look into it, and then we'll come back. I didn't do my journalistic research. I don't know why they were all on the stage together. I don't even know who some of these women were. I think one of them was famous. I don't know. I didn't look into it, but yeah.
These type of situations just make me happy. I'm sorry. I'm
happy that you got me right.
And it's not it's not being in a dating pool, because it's like I think my life perspective would be so much different if I was actually in a dating pool. Like
jaded.
I have such a jaded mindset of relationships and men because of just my situation. But man, I just sometimes I'm like, dang, like I always wonder who I would be as a person if I was out in this dating pool. Like I would probably be a mess.
I have a theory, but we can't say it on camera. You think
I'll be like all these other birds and like, oh man.
I don't want to say it on camera because it's gonna sound nuts.
But I mean, who knows? Maybe my perspective. I'm so see two sides, and I defend men a lot because I feel like I know a good man. But that's the thing. People who hate men, they just know a lot of bad men. So that's their perspective is men are bad. My perspective is men are good because I know a good man. I feel like if you have perspective of seeing both sides of good and bad, then you know that there's both exist.
I'm not a great man.
I think you are now. I think you haven't always been. I don't think anybody's born great. I think I think people grow into being great. I don't think I've always been a great woman. So I think you are now, but I don't think you always been.
You were a horrible woman.
I don't think I was ever horrible.
I'm saying just how I feel. I think you were horrible until like last week.
Last week?
Mm-hmm.
No. I think I've always was good, and then I had situations that turned me bad, and I had moments that turned me bad. But I think I've always been great at my core. I had good intentions. I think people just made me turn into a person I didn't want to be.
I agree with that.
Because I came in very naive, I'm a very naive, happy-go-lucky person thinking the best of everybody, and then I got a cloud over me because people made me turn into a mean person. Because I just protected myself. At the end of the day, I only become mean when I'm protecting myself. I'm protecting something when I become mean. Whether it's my heart, whether it's my emotions, whether it's my feelings.
So your heart.
Yeah. But I think at my core, I've always been a good person. Just wanted to be liked, wanted peace and harmony. And then situations turn me into.
What are some of these situations?
I'm not going to get into details.
Okay, let's move on. All right, well, this is going to be a short pod today, but I did want to get your perspective on this. Now, I know in your world it's a little different because we've been together for 25 years at this point.
25 years.
And we're only 27. But from your perspective, I know that you're an extremely attractive woman. I think you're the best looking woman in the world.
Extremely is crazy.
You're extremely attractive. You might be the baddest, I'm not going to lie. So from that perspective, in your experience, you've had a lot of men come up to you and try to bag, correct?
I would say I have, but I want to say a lot because I feel like a lot of my times as an adult, I've been around with you. But when I'm outside, I'm with you most of my days. But I would still say, yeah, but without you around or like social media.
Right. It's a lot.
It's slowed down a lot.
Just say yes. You can just say yes. It's okay. Say it. Say the word yes.
70%.
So because of that, you've seen a number of different approaches from men, correct? Different strategies so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for women, that's a common thing. You could see more commonalities between men because you're going to get a lot more exposure because men are thirsty. They're going to be trying to go out and secure. Men are hunters, so they're going to try to go out and get what they want. Now, from the opposite perspective, I've found that women don't tend to know, like when women are in the hunting position, they find it hard on like what they should be doing to pursue a man.
Yeah.
Because contrary to popular belief, not every man wants every woman.
Yeah. But
So in those cases, in those scenarios, I was talking with some people the other day, not some people, some women the other day who were trying to get my perspective on it because they were trying to find like, what's the signs you should look for, like get a man's perspective. Is it hard approaching a woman, all that kind of stuff. So I was trying to break it down to them. Now, from your perspective, what would be the best way to do so? The best scenario, context, location
for a man to approach a woman?
to have like a higher success rate.
For a man.
For a man.
This is a hard question because, me, I'm very like, I see all sides. And I know like a lot of people don't like certain things because a lot of women hate the whole hey beautiful thing. But, a lot of women will eat that up. So it's kind of a hard concept. I think if you're going to do it via social media, then you could simply just say, like if you're going to DM somebody, I think don't be weird, don't do too much. So you could simply just say like, hey, I don't know. Because I haven't been in the dating game for so long, so I don't know what I would want. But I feel like a simple maybe like, hey, I would love to get to know you more. It could be as simple like that. I feel like sometimes if you start doing a whole, hey, oh my God, you're the most beautiful thing in the world. Some people don't like that because if you're approaching a conversation with me because of my looks, it might be a turnoff. Because it's like, you know what I mean? It's like if you think I'm beautiful, like fine, like everybody, like people think that, but like I don't want that to be an approach because it's like,
Yeah.
Because then it comes across as like, well, is that your only intentions in wanting to get to know me because of my looks? Which, yeah, I mean, first and foremost, when you see somebody, it is like you're attracted to them first by looks. But if you're like, okay, this person looks good, and I want to get to know them more because they, I think there could be a cool person. Like, I see their personality on the internet. I see like what their fashion is. I see what they're like, what the music they like. Okay, maybe we could bond. Then that's different. 'Cause now you're hitting me up because you think I look good, but you also think that we will get along because we have similar interests. So, but if your approach is like, hey, like I would love to get to know you more, then I might respond to that. I feel like. Gotcha. But see, it's hard because I haven't been single in like almost 10 years.
But even still, it's always a funny question because anytime guys ask that to women, they always say the worst possible advice that they could ever give.
I think keep it simple.
And then it's like I saw one the other day where a guy was asking a woman, and then she just like. She made it so he was like facing away from her. So he just came. She was like, "Okay, so if you're a guy, if I'm a guy and I'm approaching you," she like just walked up behind him, tapped him on the shoulder, and then like touched her back, and then like took her.
Yeah, see, that's weird.
Yeah, like that's gonna get you a case.
But see, you know what sucks nowadays? The in-person interactions are so dicey. Like I kind of feel bad for men because they get so many perspectives on what they should do when it comes to the in-person stuff. So even like what I would think is a good approach might not be a good approach to another woman because lots of times too is the whole how you look thing too because like if you're, but you know what? I feel like first and foremost people have to have self-awareness. So I feel like you would know as a man if you're deemed of more attractiveness. I think men will actually have a better gauge on how attractive they are than women because if you're approached by a lot of women or even a woman being bold enough to DM you, you would know, okay, I definitely are probably, and especially if it's attractive women too, like really attractive women who are like trying to talk to you or trying to get to know you. I think you would be like, okay, I'm definitely attractive. Women is harder to gauge that because men will have sex with anything. So you might get hit up and you might be like the most hit person ever, but like the man just wants a warm body for that night. So he might just be reaching out to you or, whatever, you know what I mean?
As opposed to a cold body, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's like, women is hard. I think it's harder to gauge because, like, no offense too. Lots of times your friends will gas you up. You might not be cute, but your friends will be like, "Oh my God, my friend's a baddie."
Yeah,
like
women's perspective got to be so distorted.
It's very delusional, distorted. I'm first to admit that it is. no, but I feel like men are a lot more like real with each other on that. Like if they know their friends like look good looking, they'll say like, "Damn nigga, you like I'm no homo, but you look good." No, that sounds crazy. But I think that's like a thing, right? But like I feel like men have a better gauge on their level of attraction. This because it's like okay, I can get girls. They throwing it at me like I'm definitely beautiful women are coming at me like talking to me. I'm able to get them. I definitely rank high. But I feel like if that's not your experience, then I feel like you shouldn't necessarily approach women in person because like you're gonna have a lot. No, I'm being real. Like you're gonna have, and even online, you're not gonna have a super high success rate. Because I feel like people, I feel like people are delusional, but people also like you should just be self aware. Like I feel like like if you're like top tier, if you rank high in the look department and you don't, like I feel you have to know.
You know what?
You have to know. Some people are delusional, but I feel you have to know.
That's
like,
true. And for any men that are on here and they hate when women give opinions on this,
Yeah,
so I'm gonna take over.
I know, especially
But
if it's a woman like me, right, who wears makeup. They're like, "Oh, take the makeup off, take the hair off."
so
Okay, but I met him when I didn't wear makeup really that much, and my hair wasn't that good. So
it's okay. You're not fighting anybody for real. But
no, I'm just saying.
to put it in basketball terms, yeah, like you shouldn't, if you're not able to pull from range, you probably shouldn't, take shots that are considered
So
deep
you're
based
gonna
on
come
your
across
own
creepy.
attributes.
You're gonna get rejected, and you're gonna come across as a creep.
Yeah, like y'all play 2K. Like y'all know if my player doesn't have the particular stats to do certain moves, you probably shouldn't execute that move on the court. Like,
and you could give yourself a self-evaluation based off your success rate, based off the woman that you have. Look at your roster, get the picture together, get a little portfolio, and look at your roster. And if it looks bad or it looks like subpar, then maybe you're not that guy. Like,
and also, yeah, like you just mentioned, that's also a point that I think some people get, but everybody should get. That when you're attractive or attractive enough for someone, or you also have enough money, or it's just there's something about you, your status that is such a turn on to somebody, you can execute certain moves that are nuts and it's not going to come across as creepy because somebody just likes something about you that much. But if you don't have any of those things going for you, the same moves that somebody else might do, you can't execute those.
That's funny. It's such like not like in perspective. It's a true thing. Like I'm not gonna lie and act like I've never did that. Right? Like if it could be two different guys pulling the same move in a club, and like the one guy be so hit, and you just feel creeped out and like ooh, and it could be a guy that like it's like you think is attractive, and you're like, all of a sudden it's like like you're all giddy and stuff. Like I'm not gonna lie, and act like that's never like that's not a real thing. Like and it sucks, it's sad, like it is, but hey, life isn't fair.
Because guys guys in the same perspective, like when the wildebeest is coming up to you and they're trying to bag.
Like, what they call Jersey Shore? They called
the grenades.
The grenades.
Like when the wildebeest
and
is popping
when
up,
there's like a baddie, and you're like, damn.
And then when
like,
a baddie comes up, it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
It's the same concept.
Yeah.
So yeah, you gotta know where you fall and rank into there. But
you have to be real with yourself. You gotta be honest with yourself. Like life isn't fair. Yeah, you might have gotten on the poor end of the genetic pool. Sorry. Like I'm sorry.
That really does answer the question. Is really do a self-evaluation and see where you rank. Yeah. And I think from there should be certain advice. But the advice definitely differs. So if you're extremely attractive or have a higher status, it's not that necessarily you should be arrogant and come off a certain type of way, but you can get off more. You get off like a different set of
anything. You could get off the whole bare, because some people might say like what my perspective is, or just say hey. Some women might like that's the bare minimum.
Yeah, but if you got
if you're attractive,
if you got the verification check, you got money, they see you could dress, all that kind of stuff, you could get way more off based on that.
And even the hey beautiful thing, some women be like, don't call me beautiful, you don't know me.
Yeah.
But some women, if you're very attractive, they be like, all of a sudden that won't be an issue to them. They'll be like,
they're gonna be smiling for days.
Yeah, especially if it's a guy who's like you think is conventionally attractive. If he's thinking you're attractive, that's an ego boost. Like you're like, damn, this person looks good. Like, and he thinks I look good. Like, damn. Like, so you're not gonna say no.
I guess a better question would be then, because most people don't have the money or the looks.
Yeah.
What should the average guy do to approach a woman and have an average level of success rate, or the highest?
I think the best thing to do.
And hold up, average guy, average girl.
I think if you're average guy, then you should just go after average woman.
And what should the approach be?
You know how I would compare it to? Like when I applied for colleges, I had a list. I had my colleges I knew I would get into. Like I knew I would get into these colleges. Then I had my colleges, like the schools at my level, who I feel like it could be a 50-50, but I feel like I could definitely this is like I'm going right like directly across. Like this is they need this requirement, I match it 100%. And then I have what I call my reach schools, where it's like, this is a reach. I might get in, they might accept me, they might not, but they most likely aren't going to accept me, but they might. But this is a reach. So I applied to the schools I knew I can get into, just so if I'm safe. Let's call your safe schools. Safe. I apply to schools so I know I'm safe. At least I have an option. Then I applied to like my regular schools, like a Montclair was like my regular school, or like a Howard was like, I got into Howard, but I was like a middle. But in a reach, I applied to UNC. I didn't get into UNC. I applied to University of Maryland, UMD. I didn't get into those schools. I think the same thing for the dating game. Like I said, evaluate yourself, and then where to go from there. There's girls who you most likely, and guys, if you're a woman, that you most likely be able to have success. Like who they are, kind of MO. Like they're easy. They're maybe not so attractive, or they're insecure. So like they'll take any attention because they might not get a lot of it from somebody who looks like you. Then that there's people who are at your level. So like the success rate is probably gonna be pretty good. You might have some failures, but okay, I'm average. I make average salary. This woman's average looking, makes average salary. So you might have success. Then there's the reach. This woman's way out of my league, but she might think I'm attractive, or she might want a guy like me. So I think how you approach that situation is you go for the people at your level. You go for them. If you really are worried that you might not find somebody, maybe you go for somebody who's below your level a little bit, look-wise, that you feel like you can easily get. But if you want to have those reach women, go for it, but just maybe be more methodical with how you're going to approach them. Like put more thought into it, whatever, But I do feel like everybody should just, if you're an average man, you should just approach average women. You should walk up to average women in a setting. You should, on dating apps, match with average women. You should hit up average women. Like if you're kind of average looking and you're in a girl's DMs who looks very good, who's obviously successful, you're probably not going to have a high success rate. Like you probably aren't. Go for it. You never know. But if you're rejected, don't be surprised. So I feel like that's a good analogy.
It's kind of interesting. Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I wonder if there's even a purpose in the reach.
There is, if you feel like this person is really, really attractive and like I really want to get to know her. Like she seems really cool. I know she probably won't hit me up, but hey, it doesn't hurt for me to be like,
you know what? Yeah, you're right.
It doesn't hurt.
Shoot or shoot, yo.
Shoot your shot. Because the worst thing that could happen is you're gonna get rejected, and that's okay. That's life.
Yeah, that is life. That's the real problem. Like that's what I was trying to explain to the women I was talking to.
Yeah.
I was like, the problem is that for like a man, they're gonna traditionally have to approach the woman, and the problem is, women don't know the process of rejection as much because they tend to not get rejected. So, from a man's perspective, it could be heartbreaking, low key, especially the way that you do end up getting rejected by the women. Like that she might say that you're an ugly gremlin like, and you're poor and broke, and I would never. They're gonna respond like that, or like they could respond that way in public too, because women be doing a lot, especially if you're in a public setting at a bar or something, and they might be drunk.
Your friends.
Yeah, and everybody in the bar knows you just walked over to this woman. We're gonna stop saying girl. This woman, and she rejects you. Now the whole bar knows that you just got rejected, which is fine because who gives a fuck? Yeah. Like you shouldn't care about that. Shoot your shot, but yeah, women don't get that concept of it because it's like because women get who they want and guys
for
get,
the most part. Because
there's definitely
women who shoot out of their league too, and a guy's like,
oh no, for sure,
like girl, no,
for sure,
or like the guy might sleep with you, but that's all. Like you're nothing more than him. So women definitely have rejection rates too. I would assume.
So you're basically your advice is just
you notice a lot of women do settle sometimes. I notice that now that we're getting older, a lot of our peers, I'm like they're settling in my opinion because it's not what all the criteria that they listed they're not getting because they don't match up.
Yeah, women set those standards. They want the 6'3",
6-figure salary, and then you see the guy that they're with is shorter than them, making no money. Because that's all you could get. The guy that you really wanted, you couldn't get. No offense.
And they don't look. Yeah, they don't look anything physically like the person that they describe on social media, or the person that got them pregnant, or just like the person, their situationship.
So don't get it twisted. Women get rejected too from what they want. They do. Actually, a lot of women end up settling too because that's what they really want. A lot of them can't get.
Well, what they want to also
and look wise.
I think is more so instead of the rejection. I think is also more so it just doesn't exist low key.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Like they never even had the opportunity to try to pursue somebody like that because it's just a rare criteria.
It's
We just live in New York because even when I was I don't know if I want to bring this up. Even when I was buying like your engagement ring, it was they were talking about that kind of concept. They were like geographic.
what
They were
you had to
talking.
throw that out there so subtly.
They were talking about like geographically, like over here in this part of the country. They were like the averages are X Y Z, and this
Yeah,
is the money team side of the world. So our perspective, well, especially in my travel, I'm very well aware of the rest of the country and how everybody else lives.
yeah.
But for other people, like in this area, it might be money team, and there might be more. It might be more common to come across people that fit
It
this
is.
criteria. Especially we live next to New York City,
Yeah, I was just talking about some on Twitter, like, cause
but the
this
rest of
guy
the world
said
is not
he,
like that.
yeah, this guy said he never met a woman that made 100K, and I'm like, I can name you like 10 right now, because it's just like our, where where we live, and we our scope is we we're college educated, so we have a college educated circle, people that we know, and we work in places that pay well. So it's like I know I can name you 10 women right now that make 100K. What you mean you don't know nobody that makes 100K? So yeah, it's definitely easier around here to get a guy with money that might not even be like good looking, and you might not be good looking, but you guys are both kind of nerdy, quirky, and make your money together.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't know how much time we spent on this so far, but I wanted to give a
yeah,
guy's perspective. So I think one of the keys to try to get women is this. So number one, I think before anything else, you have your genetics. So there's going to be, and this is for women as well. Women have genetics, obviously, because they're humans as well.
mm-hmm.
But you're going to have certain physical attributes that you're born with and you're stuck with. So there's certain things that you can't change. I know the big thing for men is the hair falling out, and all of that's genetically based. I think that trait comes through the mother side. Your height,
Height.
your just everything, your facial structure, yeah, your everything really.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything comes from genetics. So
even your
voice, everything.
because deeper voice. I feel like men have more success with a deeper voice.
Yeah, they started making me make like audio, like do like voiceovers for the company.
No one at work should be talking about your voice.
Okay. So anyway, they so
yeah,
that's what you're set with. So genetics
is a luck of the draw.
and so
Shout out to my genetics. That's what I gotta say.
Whatever you got is whatever you got. So that's where it starts
Yeah.
and ends from that perspective. There are some things you can change to kind of impact that a little bit. So make sure that you have a good diet.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking care of your skin, because you could be genetically born with great skin, but your diet or just you not exfoliating or washing your face or your hygiene is bad. So make sure you take care of things like your skin, because clear skin is more attractive. Working out, definitely. You don't need to be muscle bound.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you did, yeah.
But you should just be in shape in general. But women are going to tend to find that more attractive.
Plastic surgery has like the higher end.
You could
of this
do plastic surgery, but that's we're not talking about that. That's something completely different.
That's a different, yeah.
Don't get fake abs.
Yeah.
Just go to the gym and just sit down and work out for 6 months. You'll be fine. So doing those kind of things, like that's where you should start. Taking care of yourself physically based on the genetics and body build that you were given. Take care of it. Secondly, what you should do is work on getting some sort of therapy or learning about yourself, because even if you're not conventionally attractive, you can also still get away with a lot of things if you just have a great personality. If you can make women laugh, that is like the number one thing that you can do to get in easily without having to do too much.
Yeah.
It's an easy way in. It's not everything. Of course, you still have to treat them well, treat them like the women that they are, and take care of them and that kind of stuff. But having a sense of humor and emotional understanding, all that kind of stuff. Like you have to grow up. Like basically, like I know as being a man myself, I know we go through a period where it's like the frat boy mentality and. I got all these blah, 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 like all that kind of stuff. You got to shake that, because if you really want to, and this is to secure somebody, if you want to just be a thought, then just go be a thought. But if you want to secure somebody, you're going to have to do that mental growth to be able to sustain a woman and make her want to be around you, especially because you got to understand women get sausage and meat thrown at them all day long from all different angles. You're not the only one. So you're going to have to be one that stands out. So that's the other part. Do some of that mental growing and learning and You know, women like to laugh and be nurtured and taken care of as well.
Yeah.
They basically want a dad, which is, you know, weird.
Some.
Weird, you know, someone a dad, but, you know, that's a thing.
Yeah.
And
It's weird.
once you do those two things,
and you gotta work on your like self, like education,
yeah,
job.
that's
stability.
That's key number 3.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of guys see how men with money live and how women will just throw themselves at them, or being able to go around in their travels and pick up women from all over the world.
Because it is important. Like,
it is important.
Like I don't believe in using people because of their money, but I feel like having your own stability just on your own is just an important trait to have.
It's important for your own independence. So get your money up. Like, go learn a trade, go to college, get a degree. If you don't get degrees, get certifications. Like, do something that helps you. And you don't even need to do that. If you're in entertainment, or if you're in sports, if you're in anything else, just make sure that you're taking care of everything that you can in your career, and make sure you get that stable income, because money does talk and money does matter. And it's not necessarily that somebody's using you for your money, but it does allow them to have additional experiences. You can have additional experiences. Like, all of that is very important.
It's more competitive
and cultivating a relationship
too. Like, you know.
Like, nothing to me could replace the feeling of being in, like, waking up in Dubai every day, every morning, with the blinds auto open once the sun arises, and I'm looking at the Burj Khalifa. Like, money does matter. Yeah. Because you get to have those experiences. It's going to make somebody like you more. Don't like allow somebody to use you, but use money as a tool to allow you to get access to certain things. And, you know, yeah. So don't dangle. That's the other thing. Men tend to dangle money in front of women and then be surprised when women use them for the money. Like, don't be like, I'm rich, you know, I got this car, I got this, my mansion, and I'm in the penthouse and the floor to ceiling windows, all that kind of stuff. If you're going to be in the business of doing, like, have those things, but if you're going to be in the business of dangling those things in front of women, then don't be surprised when they take the bait, and don't be surprised when they take the bait and run. Yeah. Because they might see somebody with the $100 million house, and you might have only had the $1 million house, which is perfectly fine too. But I think those are the big 3. And then once you get all of those 3 things figured out, to the best of your ability, all of those different attributes, maybe you don't have as much money, but you got a great personality, or maybe, you know, you're not as emotionally intelligent, but you have more money. There's sliders on all these things. So get the best combination of those 3 things. And then from there, you should evaluate where you rank against other men, because then that shows you where your level of competition is and how women will perceive you. Yeah. And then from there, once you realize where you fall in the pecking order on a totem pole, then that's how you adjust how you can shoot your shots everywhere. Yeah. So me personally, what I've noticed is that the more money that I've started to get, the easier it probably would be to
way easy. Huh? You were saying to date.
Yeah,
I was saying it was already easy like before, but I could imagine like you out in the world now, like it would be probably scary.
Like the type of restaurants, like I just looked at the bill we had the other day. We paid like $300 in just Chinese food. It was like $327.
No, that's how much we spent for my mom's birthday too. That time.
Yeah.
In Easton, I was like, damn, I didn't know Easton trying to be on the come up like this.
So stuff like that, like you know, those things do matter and they do speak volumes. But I know that, like, I know where I rank. I could shoot.
Yeah.
A certain
you're
range.
Self-aware. Yeah.
And you need to
I feel that way
too,
but even as a woman, I know where I rank. Like, I know, like, where I could compete at. I know, like, you know, if I was single, you know, I'm not like that delusion to think I could go even as high as, like, even, like, an athlete or, and not necessarily that I would be not able to, but that would be more of, like, a reach for me because I feel like, you know, especially because.
I don't think so. I mean, well,
maybe, but, you know, like, for me, I feel like the body types, everybody wants the thick girl, and so, but not necessarily even the girl that they wife, yeah. But, you know, I don't know. I'm not going to be delusional, but, like, yeah, I can get me an athlete.
Weren't you surrounded by the entire Eagles offense?
I was. Oh yeah, you know what? Let me stop. I forgot. Eagles player did that. The Eagles player did fucking stalk me that whole night. That shit was crazy. Like 2 different locations. I was like, so yeah, but
never giggle like that again.
Huh?
You said never giggle like that again.
No, I'm saying like I forgot about that. So yeah, like, you know, like, I'm self-aware and feel like I'm not like far off.
Athletes ain't out of reach. For you, it's different because.
I mean, I feel like I'm conventionally attractive. I feel like I have a nice body, so.
Men don't care about status with women. So
yeah.
That's why you're not far off in the same way that men.
I'm not far off.
Men could be far off.
But some women are far off because they look like.
Well, that's true. Well, I'm saying
something
for you.
that was underneath your couch.
But yeah, so get all those things in order and then see where you rank and then shoot your shot accordingly. Shoot, but where you're going to have a higher success rate is definitely in the range that you are in.
Yeah.
If you got a good mid-range, if you good around the basket, you got good footwork, stay in that lane. don't start pulling threes from the logo
Yeah.
because you're probably not going to get it. And
Yeah.
every once in a while you might get one, but
yeah, I
if
feel
you're
that's like the
looking for a
conclusion here.
if you're looking for a success rate, definitely just stay within.
Yeah, you
in
know your
range.
bubble, you know your range. Like people need to be more self-aware, and a lot of people aren't. A lot of people are delusional.
Right. So you want
be realistic.
The Lottos and Ruby Roses of the world. They're unfortunately in a spot where they're getting so much money and they're just in a level of attractiveness that you're not going to be able to impress them with anything. So
probably not never. So
you should So you shouldn't shoot. You shouldn't shoot in that range if you're nowhere close to that range. But act accordingly, and that's the best thing you could do. To me, is just work on yourself as a man to be the best person that you can be.
Yeah.
From a physical standpoint, emotional standpoint, and in your career, and from there you'll have a way higher success rate, and you'll see life start to change around.
Yeah, and then at that point there is no specific approach. You just be yourself.
Just be yourself.
You don't have to worry about what you're saying if you're just.
And women will be able to take all of those attributes and understand them. You won't even have to communicate those things to them.
It'll just be natural.
It'll just be natural. And that's really the key.
Yeah.
Game for all you young kids.
Yeah.
Especially this doesn't.
And men and women. Men and women too.
The same thing. Women need to take the
Stop
same
being
advice.
Delusional.
Women should take the same advice and do the reverse. Like be emotionally intelligent. Don't just start wilding out.
Yeah,
for no reason.
feel yourself, because men don't want that. They don't want the chaotic, toxic woman that's always wants to fight and so insecure. Like heal.
Yeah.
It's not cute.
Well, there we go. We figured it out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna clip this and make sure everybody gets to see it. One day we'll do the college. We'll do like a college episode.
About college.
We'll do like 3. We'll do 3 hours of just college topics.
Bruh. That could be a good. We'll do that next week.
Yeah, we'll do it next week. But
that could be bad at the same time.
Oh no, we're gonna,
especially if I'm drunk. I'm gonna
we're gonna have a lot of libations, and we're gonna be candid and get canceled.
Yeah, a lot of people will probably appreciate the advice, especially on how we were able to.
Let's not even talk about it.
Our relationship survive.
Let's not even talk about it now.
Freaking crazy time.
Anything else for today?
No, I think that's about it.
All right, that's about it.
It was a short pod.
Pod.
Was it short? I think it was.
Nah, it's like normal time, but
hour and a half.
We're going out to celebrate St. Patty's, celebrate my kinfolk, and we're out of here. As always, we'll see y'all next week.